All the way live out of New Mexico, huh?
Yeah, still in the States.
So New Mexico, that's a different kind of market there, I'm sure. I mean, is it competitive there when it comes to real estate and wholesaling or anything? Or
Oh, man, some of the wholesalers I've talked to, it's like they're lucky if they get like two a year. Like they have to grind hard just to get one. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's trying to do it, and there's not enough for people to go around. Or that's kind of where my struggle is I just don't know if maybe I'm just not paying attention enough, because obviously there's got to be more than just two a year, right?
so you're saying you've talked to people there in that market that only did 2 deals a year?
Yeah.
Oh man, how many deals have you closed? A goose egg? Well, we're gonna turn that into a 500,000 of them. Well, I don't know. Can't say on that. So so you do you say so you're only marketing in your local market there in New Mexico? Is that in what, Albuquerque or like the town or?
Yeah, I'm in the Albuquerque area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about like virtual wholesaling, but then like that weird like roadblock hits me where I'm like, well, then how would I do this? And how would I do that? And how would I do this? But I don't know. Like I said, it just, the thought of virtual wholesaling came about because it's like, you know, people claim this market's like dried up. So it's like, well, why not try somewhere else? But I still kind of have a hard time believing that. I haven't quite figured it out yet.
Mm. So what type of marketing have you started doing? What kind of marketing are you doing to find deals?
To be honest with you, at this point, this is probably like the third time that I've started and like kind of given up out of like discouragement. I was initially I would go and like try to build lists on like list source and things like that. I'd also try to call like for sale by owners on Craigslist, and it was just it was on it was difficult, man. Like people make it look really easy, and it was kind of a reality check where I was like, this is a grind. And so I was trying really hard, I got around, I've had this LLC open for probably just about a year. And I got around finally to meeting somebody that was potentially looking like he was going to be my mentor. He had done deals himself. And he was like, yeah, what we'll do is we'll give you like a percentage of deals. Basically, we'll show you how the process works. You call some leads for us and you'll get like a quarter of what we close it at. And I was like, hey, that'd be perfect, because I could sit side by side, see how the closing process goes, everything like that. Well, I was all in and I was ready to do it. And somewhere down the line, he just fell off the face of the earth. So I don't know if he stopped. Yeah, I don't know if he stopped wholesaling or what, man. But I was like, yeah, I'm in. Send me the paperwork. Let's do this, because he was going to coach me through like a couple deals until I was like comfortable to be on my own. And then that's all there was to it,
Wow.
man.
And so he just disappeared off the face of the earth, just gone, vanished.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was wild.
So you only started with more so the cold calling, pulling lists, cold calling aspect, and you ran into some roadblocks. What were some of the sellers saying to you? Like, how'd you get my number and stuff like that?
Yeah, and that usually doesn't bother me, because I'm just like, to some extent, it takes a simple Google search to find things like that. I'm just a local investor in the area trying to help people out. Like that was usually my objection to something like that. Where it would get difficult is when people really just want retail for their house. You know what I mean? And they're like, I won't sell my house unless you give me 500,000 for it right now. And that's what I told the last guy. I'm like,
wow. So you let them intimidate you, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it can happen. And that's the majority of the people we're going to come across. A lot of people don't understand that this wholesaling thing, you're only dealing with a small percentage of people that are even going to potentially sell their house at a reduced value. They all want full price and they want all cash fast. If you can do that, or either put it on the MLS. That's the real, the standard or the status quo. So a lot of times you're dealing with, you need to find people who are actually motivated. If they're not motivated, they don't even want to talk to you no way. You know what I mean? Like the guy you just said, to say 500,000, that's what I want. What's his motivation for selling? Because if we don't know why he's selling, it don't matter what the number is. You know what I mean? If we don't uncover and unlayer, that's why, when you targeting for lists and things like that, I always suggest, going for a list that has some type of motivation. What type of list were you calling when you called that one?
I think that one was a for sale by owner, but specifically when I was trying to pull lists, I was doing pre-foreclosures. But I slowly noticed how like small of a time frame you actually had, because there was one house that I came across. It was perfect. It was actually in my neighborhood. I just all of a sudden it's been there. I'd driven by it a lot, and I finally noticed. I was like, this house is like beat up, like the stucco is falling off. Never seen anything like it. It was like boarded off. So I was like, this is it. This is my house. This is the point
one
right here. Yeah. And so I went through the process, and I had met a few friends through my local RIA group. And so I picked up the phone and I called one of them because they had done a few wholesale deals, and she was also a real estate agent too. And I was like, hey, can you run the comps on this house? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. And then she was helping me in the process, trying to pull up some information to see where it was at. Well, had I been just a little bit quicker, it had been put into auction like probably like 6 days before our conversation. So
You
that's when
gotta
I
be
started to
fast
learn
dealing with them pre-foreclosures.
yeah,
You gotta
right.
be
That's when I
swift
started
and
to learn
have,
that
yeah.
time crunch.
Yeah, you got to be kind of swift when you're dealing with pre-foreclosures or people that need to sell because of something's happening. Unless you can do some, creative tactics to stop the foreclosure or postpone the foreclosure to a future time. But foreclosures, I usually don't tell people to start with those because it's kind of harder. Because like you just said, you got to be able to move quick. You don't have time to, let me beg some agent to run comps for me and all of that. By the time they do all that, I got to be able to go boom, 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 get it under contract today, get it out to somebody who can close on it, or do something quickly. But if it don't work that fast, it ain't gonna happen because you still got to do title search and all that other stuff. Foreclosure may just be one thing. It might have a slew of liens on top of that, not just for the, just the foreclosure. It might have other crap on it. So, that's the tricky part. So, did you have any specific questions about, some of the deals or anything that you've been coming across or anything?
So one of the biggest roadblocks I came across, I kind of picked up this like joint venture at one point across, I think it was the wholesaling elite group. But I had been seeing this guy a lot. So I was like, maybe he's a trusted source, kind of hit him up. He said he had some deals in Santa Fe, which isn't too far from where I was at. So I was like, yeah, dude, like, let's talk about it. So we were going to link up. I was going to see about getting some people out to the house for like a viewing that he was setting up. I was potentially even going to go out to the house for him. And I slowly started to realize this dude was a little sketchy. And he was throwing numbers at me that was just like unreal. Like, I know like the whole wholesaling equation and things like that. So naturally in my head, I'm like already running numbers. I'm like, okay, this is like the maximum allowable offer. This is what I want to make. So I got to make sure I subtract that off of that. And then right off the bat, it's like, there's got to be at least $10,000 worth of repairs that needs to be done to make it modern, especially in New Mexico. There's not a lot of houses here that are very like modernized unless there's already been renovations. So that's just an assumption off the top of my head. And so I was kind of going back and forth with him. Well, I had already had maybe like 5 or 6 buyers that I had met through a meetup group. And so I made myself look like an idiot because I shot this out to them and I was like, hey guys, here's the house that we got in Santa Fe. If any of you guys are interested, here's the numbers, here's what it's looking like. But then after I sent it, I was going back through the numbers and I was like, something isn't right. Like, this is not a deal.
Exactly. That's the big thing that a lot of people come across, whether you're doing a JV or a joint venture deal like you're talking about, or you're doing your own deal. Run the numbers. You know what I mean? ARV minus that 30%, minus the repair costs, minus what you want to make. You can't go over those numbers. And when you start pushing those numbers up, there's no money in it. And so a lot of people that you see that say, I got a JV deal, or I got a deal I want a JV. You want a JV because it ain't a deal. A lot of times it's really just simply not a deal. Because a deal will sell itself, generally within 2 weeks, if not sooner. I've sold them in as fast as 48 hours. Matter of fact, I've sold them as fast as the same day. Lock it up that morning, sold it that night at 6:30 that evening and stuff, and that can happen if you really got a deal. So you see a lot of people out here training or saying, or people wholesaling, I'm going to go find a buyer. I'm looking for buyers list, growing my buyers list. You don't have to look for that. You need to focus your energy on sellers, talking to sellers, mastering, learning how to speak to sellers, ask the right questions to solve their problem, because buyers are everywhere, but we put so much energy on, I'm gonna get the buyers, I'm gonna get the buyers. If you got a deal, the buyers come knocking your door down. And that's when when somebody start getting to the point of talking about JVing and all of that, a lot of times they either one, didn't have good marketing out, or two, it's not a deal. The numbers just don't make sense. It's really only two reasons why a deal don't sell. Bad marketing, or you don't have enough people looking at it, or you just simply, don't have a deal, because the deal going to sell itself. You don't have to worry about that. So like you say, you saw those numbers and it didn't make sense. So be careful if you're going to be doing them JV deals to run the numbers and make sure it's a real deal. And, if there's money, if they leave money on the table, that's fine.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that dude was just hoping that somebody would pick it up and be able to just take the deal from him. And I started to realize that later, and I started asking him questions, and he was like avoiding me, bro. And I was like, dude, like, I'm not trying to mess with you. Like, don't mess with me. Like, you came to me saying that you needed some help with this joint venture, and now you're just trying to make me look like an idiot.
Yeah, the numbers don't work.
Being one of those.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. We can feel what we feel. And that's the thing too. We can feel what we feel about the house, about the property. Ooh, it looks great. Or ooh, it don't need that much work. But the numbers don't support it. There's nothing we can do. The marketplace keeps us all in check. You, me, and anybody else that's watching and thinking about getting into this real estate thing. The marketplace will keep you in check. So just automatically thinking that, it's worth some stupid number way up here, it's a dream. It ain't happening. And it just, like I say, 2 weeks in, you should know that if it ain't sold by that time, it's probably not a deal. Just real talk. You probably got to go back and renegotiate, or give the house back to the seller and let them do something else with it. Or, get creative and do some other exit strategies other than wholesaling. And that's what I've been focusing more on now, more so than just regular wholesale deals. I want to be able to solve the problem, whatever problem that's presented to me. I want to be able to solve it, not just say, well, it don't fit for a wholesale deal, just get rid of it. No, spend too much money on that marketing to be doing that.
Right.
So what did you learn from dealing with that JV incident there? Did you figure out something?
Honestly, the biggest takeaway from that is, like, you got to be careful in the wholesale world. People really want to screw people over.
Well, it's not even necessarily just always be careful. Your documents protect you. So I have a package that I have that has all the contracts and everything you need, the one-page purchase and sales agreement, the assignment agreement, JV agreements, addendums and things like that you need to change prices or change dates, any kind of stuff to change it. So when you have your paperwork straight, you don't have anything to worry about because your paperwork protects you, versus just jumping out there and marketing deals and hoping that somebody's going to pay me at the end. That's risky. Now that's where the risk comes in. If I want to JV a deal, I want to be on paperwork. I want some agreement between me and that other person, or, something saying that, yeah, I'm in this thing, not just I'm going to throw it out, find you a buyer, and next thing you know, I can't find you and you done ran off with the money. And people will do that,
Fair enough.
So you got to protect yourself with the documents. So do you have contracts and everything like that to do a deal?
The only things I have access to are some files off of the Wholesaling Elite group with Max Maxwell. So they have like purchase and sale agreements, like the 2-page one. They got a reassignment contract as well. I'm not too sure about like JVs and stuff like that, but I'm honestly going to try to stay away from JVs. Funny story. I actually had a friend call me up. He's a friend from San Diego. I lived out in San Diego for a little bit, and he does a lot of like phone sales and things like that. He has his own business doing like some consulting, and he calls me up and he's like, what's the deal with this wholesaling stuff? He's like, I have a friend that just came to me and he made like $46,000 off of one deal. And so I break it down to him. And, probably an easy, like 2-minute, like crash course of really how wholesaling goes down. And he was like, that just doesn't make sense. He's like, why, if somebody could get, $1 million for their home, are you going to come in and offer them $700,000? And I was like, well, it comes down to how much they really want to sell. If it's been on the market for 3 months, if there's been a whole bunch of price cuts and things like that, you got to come in at some point and say, hey, are you really trying to sell this house, or are you not ready to sell? He was like, yeah, I guess, because he was pulling up some listings in San Diego, like he was ready to call some people that day. And I was throwing him the numbers. He's like, so what does that equation even mean? I was like, honestly, to me, it's like math. Like they give you some sort of equation and they're like, this is what you go by. And you're like, well, why? And it's like, that's just what we go by. If you want to make money and you want to make a good deal, this is what you go by. He's like, well, I feel like I could go in and tell them, hey, if they could get like $1 million for their home, I could go in at 850 and beat everybody else. I said, yeah, but if you're assigning it to a buyer and they still have repairs, you're screwing yourself because now it's not a deal anymore. And he was like, oh man. But
yeah, and that's what they call a thinker brain. Sometimes you're overthinking stuff. It just works. You know what I mean? That's some of the stuff we overanalyze for absolutely no reason. And I try not to get in too deep and try to convince anybody. You know, you just show them a check. Say, look at that check, big old check. And they be like, oh wow, I think I believe it now. You know, or try it. You know, and it's all about a numbers thing. But to stick more so toward the marketing aspect, because it looked like that's where your hurdles really are. Is that what it is? You're not getting enough leads coming in, or?
Yeah. And I'm actually working. I have a digital agency as well, and I'm actually working on something with ClickFunnels called the One Funnel Away Challenge. And that's basically what they're focusing on over the 30 days is marketing, like teaching you how to market, and not so much like sell a product. You know what I mean? Like you're selling your story and like things like that, as opposed to saying like, you know, here's this bottle of water, you know, I bought it for $1, so I'm going to sell it for $1.50, as opposed to like, you know, this bottle of water was touched by Jimi Hendrix, and this exact water he drank on stage every day, and said that this was what gave him the superpower to play the guitar like he could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you gotta have a story to go with it, and that's all this wholesaling is all about marketing. If you can market and communicate well with people and solve problems, really, because problems are always going to come up, it should be okay. Or are you doing any driving for dollars?
No, I haven't started up any of that. What I've been meaning to do, like, this is just me being transparent with you, is pulling the hottest zip codes and probably just going in those areas, and seeing what I could see. I mean, at this point, from where I've driven, I do usually pay attention when I'm in the car. My wife usually drives for the most part, just for that aspect, because I'll be like looking around, you know. But yeah, I mean, I look for the most part, but I haven't like really looked, if that makes sense.
Because I don't know if you're aware or if you've seen about the Deal Machine app. That's what I use for if I do any kind of driving for dollars. You just take the picture of the house and it pops up, tell you who's the owner, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, all of that crap right there in your phone, and tell you, you know, and you can see when they bought it. Sometimes you even see their mortgage amounts and stuff all right on there. So it makes it easier to organize when you're actually you know, driving for dollars. You can send a mail, or you can do another search where you can get their phone numbers and stuff. You can use that. Those are upgraded services. But for the basic service, I would suggest for you to get the Deal Machine app, and you can get the 14-day free trial and enter the keyword woke, WOKE, and you'll actually get $30 in free deal credits. You can just try it out. That's what I say. You know, it does cost, I think the basic plan is like $50 a month or something. But like I say, if you get the free trial, it will actually help you out a whole lot.
Cody Sperber and his team made that app, didn't they?
No, that's Dave, actually. David. Yeah, I actually just did an interview with him. I'm about to drop it on my channel here, probably today or tomorrow. I did an interview with him a few weeks ago, and I just haven't put it up yet, with the owner of the Deal Machine app. But it's actually a good thing because it helps you for driving for dollars. That's one of the cheapest ways you're going to find deals. And if you're pulling list off list source and all of that, remember, everybody else in your market is pulling those same lists. Remember, you said you're in a pretty competitive market. If you're actually driving for dollars and see the house yourself, you're seeing the house that is not on a list yet, or is not on somebody's radar. You might find one that just happened to, you know, it may not even be vacant. It could just have a problem on the outside of the house. Say, why do they have a big blue tarp instead of repairing their roof? Why aren't they fixing their roof? You know, or what's going on? Then you snap it, look it up. Oh, wow. And then you go and you call and say, yeah, I was just in the neighborhood. Want to know if you'd be interested in selling your house. They say, oh, yeah, we do want to sell it. We were going to put it on the MLS. Oh, no, we buy for cash. You don't have any fees. And then there you go. You know, you're off to the races, you know, which is an option. See, I don't really try to do a lot of selling on people. I just give them the information and let them choose which one you want. You want an apple or you want an orange? You're hungry? Which one you want to eat? You know, so that's the way I do things, a little different.
Well, and I'm trying to be careful of that too, just this day, because, you know, I've had issues in the past, like running like sales funnels and things like that, where it's like at some point, if you're being too pushy, like people see right through that, you know what I mean? And it comes off as desperate. Whereas if, you know, like you said, you just pick up the phone and you're like, hey, I just noticed your house, like, you know, what's going on? And they tell you, And if they want to sell, you're like, awesome, well, let's sit down and talk. And if not, you're just like, hey, we'll be in touch, you know,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
exactly. And so I never try to make people do this or make them do that. And you should do this or you should do that. I ask questions, you know, the power's in the question. And that's what, especially when it comes to virtual wholesaling, even in-person wholesaling, or even dealing with sellers at all, you want to become a master at asking good questions and letting them answer, because they'll tell you everything you want to know. So, you know, like if you're asking them, so what are you going to do if you're not able to sell this house? Or what are you going to do? Have you thought about listening with the real estate agent? If they haven't told you that, yeah, I'm going to put it on the market, you know, that you let them tell you what they're thinking about doing, see where their mind is, and you can react versus I'm going to give you 25,000 for this house and that's it. I know it all and I'm the big cash baller and I'm the shot caller. You can't do that. You know, and a lot of people make that mistake of trying to make an offer instead of asking a question. So would you consider 25,000 for this house? And let them tell you, no, we got to be better than that, man. That's a little low, dog. I don't know. I put a lot of money into it. I did a lot of work, and my grandma had, and all they sob story. You know, you got to know their why. Why are you selling? So this looks like a pretty good house. What made you want to sell this house? Wouldn't you want to like keep it and, you know, have it in the family? No, we don't have anybody that needs it. We all got houses, or we all got whatever's going on. You know, you got to know their why, because if you can solve their why, that's where you make your money at versus coming straight out. How much you want for it? What you want for this house? And a lot of people jump the gun, and I don't even talk numbers in the first 10 questions. I'm talking about what's the situation with the house. So is it vacant or is it occupied? You know, what's going on with it? What kind of repairs do you think it needs? You know, just basic stuff like that to get that customer or that seller to talking. And the more they speak to you, the more that rapport is built. And now they're starting to know, like, and trust you because they've opened up to you and told you their sad story about my daughter did, or my mom did, or whatever happened in their life. Grandpa died and left the house. Nobody wants it. And you listen to the story and then you see how you can help them out. Doesn't that make better sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did have a couple of questions though, because I've never actually been like in somebody's house, you know, down to the point of like, hey, we're about to put this house under contract potentially. When you're going about it, like when you're doing your walkthrough, how do you necessarily like estimate repairs in your head? Because I mean, for somebody like me, I'm not really a repair guy. I can't look at something and be like, oh, they need a new countertop. That's 10,000. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's kind of a setback.
So basically, you know, like I say, start off everything with questions. I ask the seller a lot of times, what does it need? Is the kitchen kind of updated or is it old? Do you think it needs to be updated? You know, what do you think? You know, before I even go to the house, I'm talking about all this now. I can still go and do my own due diligence, which we're going to do anyway. But I try to ask that information up front to get an idea of the things that are needed. And on my actual sheet, I have a checklist where it breaks down electrical, plumbing, all of the different parts of the house. If I have to get that specific, you know what I mean? To break down, well, it needs this, it needs that, it needs a roof, it needs, you know, the toilet stops up sometime, it got some plumbing issue. And then you can get an idea. Once you break down all these little things, you can come back and get, you know, find out a repair estimate or give you a ballpark. It's 20,000, 25,000, 30,000 in repairs, whatever. You know what I mean? You just need an idea because you don't know what it's going to cost anyway. And that's the thing too. We don't know really any of this stuff. A lot of this is estimated. So, you know, it's a certain dollar amount. I try to stick to, like I say, 20,000, 25, or 30,000 or more. You know, if it needs 50,000 in repairs or more, hey, it needs a lot, you know, and you put that into it and then you go ahead and base your information off of that. So like I say, you start with the question. They tell you what they think. You go confirm all of that and you can make your offer based off of that. You know, you don't have to be the know-it-all or take the cash buyer with you. I've done deals. I've locked up under contract and went and took the cash buyer with me. And when I went to meet the seller, they like it. Yeah, everybody good. Sign right here and we're done. You know, they don't know if this is my partner or this is my contractor and they're walking through the house too. You see what I'm saying? So that's another way you can do it too. So
see, that's creative. I've never heard anybody doing that, walking through the house with the cash buyer, getting it signed right then and there.
Well, I have it under contract where I even bring them. See, I do a lot of virtual deals. See, I lock up houses sight unseen a lot of times. I mean, I've done some in person, but I've done a lot virtually. Because I came in the game virtual. When you start virtual, you're like, I don't even see the other way. The other way is nice, but I don't even see it because it's, you know, I know that. So say somebody call you right now. Yeah, I want to sell my house. All right, I'm coming to see it. That's not my position. I want to know what's going on with what's the situation with the house, what's the situation with the seller, what's those numbers look like, and we don't have to negotiate. I'm just asking questions. So, what do you think it's worth? What do you think it'll praise for? I'm asking questions. I'm not offering any information just to see where their mind's at. Then I go out on appointment if I need to, or make my offer on the phone or whatever I need to do at that point. You see what I'm saying? If I ask good questions, it opens the door for every option that's available later, because you've already took out all your objections. You've taken out all the reasons why. You know more. The more you know, the more you'll flow.
I like that. Now, in a virtual wholesaling sense, one thing that's always kind of been a question in my mind is like, when you get to the point of like, okay, I found a house that I think might be a deal. Let's say you get the seller on the phone. They seem pretty motivated. Now, how do you actually go about having somebody go into the house? Do you just hire somebody and say, hey, like, I just need you to walk through this house and take some pictures for me? Or
well, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go ahead out to the appointment, take your own pictures. You see what I'm saying? You go to the house. Don't make an offer yet. Remember, the offer's later. A lot of people try to jump to the gun and go make an offer. I'm going to pay for this house. You got to put that stuff off. You do your homework and your research first before you even think about making an offer on a deal. Unless it seems like a smoking deal and you know that, hey, only way I mess this up is not lock it up or something. You know what I mean? But other than that, you want to do all your research. You can take pictures yourself. They say, oh, this whole wall needs to be done. Take pictures of all of that. And then you can go back and figure out what it costs to repair that or something. You see what I'm saying? Before you even make your offer. Or you can still make an offer based on, I think that'll cost $10,000 or whatever, or even if you don't know, you could always ask someone else in the industry, connect with local real estate groups in your town there to have some people that you can call on and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think this will cost to fix? This tub's black. I can't clean it. Do I need to replace it? Can I reglaze it? What can I do about this black tub I got here? It's supposed to be completely white. That's one of the things I'm running into right now on a house I just bought. I'm trying to think, do I need to try to scrub this thing? Do I need to replace it, reglaze it? What do I need to do? So you got to have people on your team, because real estate is a team sport. You want to have people on your team that you can call on to, try to solve problems, because problems are going to come up and you won't be able to solve them all, but you need to have access to others that you can get the information that you want from it. Does that answer your question?
That's kind of what I'm learning now, even in my other businesses. It's just like, at some point you can't do it all. You got to call upon people and be like, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this copy on this sales funnel. Like, can you help me out? You know what I mean? Because it's like, you got to weigh like your time and the money that it's going to take to pay somebody else to do it. It's like, if I'm going to take, 10 hours out of my time to write just a simple headline and my time's worth $100 an hour, I just lost $1,000. But if I'm going to pay somebody $500, then I'm still $500 profitable out of that headline, right?
Exactly. So they call that leverage. You want to leverage other people, leverage these computer systems, leverage apps, software. I'm all about using what the systems are, because there's no secrets anymore. This is the information age. There's no like, oh, well, I don't know how they did that. We got YouTube. We got Google. You got all these Facebook groups. I mean, the information is here. You just got to take the time to learn it and start implementing it. And you're going to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. You just have to learn from the mistake, dust yourself off, and get back in the fight. Even if you mess up, you're going to make an error. There's nothing you can do about that.
Okay, fair. Yeah. No, and so I guess there's probably really only a couple other questions on my mind. The first question is, because I'm really trying to get to a place where I'm like breaking down these like false beliefs in my head and these fears that are like stopping me from doing a lot of things. And one of the things with wholesaling that I don't know if it's a weird fear or if it's common is like, what do you do if you're in a situation where, let's say, you put a house under contract and it turns out to not be a deal? You've already signed the paperwork. Like, how easy is it to back out of something like that? Is it as easy as calling up the seller and being like, hey, like, I'm not interested anymore? Or like, is that more of like a legal aspect of getting things done? Or
well, first of all, I will say I am not an attorney, so any information I give is for educational
purposes. Right. Fair enough.
For the disclaimer. However, in my contracts, like I said, I have a kit that's already ready with everything you need, one-page purchase and sales agreement and all of that stuff. I have it in there, certain out clauses, subject to partner's approval, subject to inspection, certain things to protect you. You have an out. You see what I'm saying? You have a way to get out of the contract if the deal doesn't work. You can always like I say, you can go back, renegotiate with the seller to get a lower price. So say you get a house under contract for 100,000 when you should have had it under contract for 90 or whatever, right? You've brought buyers through here, they've looked at it, and they're like, man, I'll give you this much for it. And you need the seller to bring it down to 90 to make the deal work. You can always go back and renegotiate with the seller. Or, renegotiating one. Two, you can get a house back. You can just cancel and say, yeah, we can't make the deal happen for whatever reason, and I even have them sign off on a cancellation document that actually comes in my pack as well that lets you know that, hey, yeah, we're canceling the deal. We mutually agree to cancel this agreement, and we hold harmless neither party in this contract, basically. And so that's what I have them sign off on, and everybody go back on their merry way and go on their life. But I would prefer to renegotiate and make a deal happen.
I feel you. That
because you're getting the real feedback. Yeah, because you got a real feedback. See, so you can't renegotiate on something you haven't had any buyers come and look at. Nobody's came and looked at. Renegotiate what? You don't have a buyer. Now if you do have a buyer, like, yeah, I like it, but I need to be at 80, or I need to be at 90, or I need to be whatever number. You can go back and renegotiate to get the price a little lower if that's what it takes to make the deal happen. You see what I'm saying? But that's all just some little more advanced strategy. It's not really advanced, but it's just negotiations. That stuff after the fact, getting it under contract. But yeah, to answer your question, there's nothing to worry about when you have proper documentation and you have out clauses like the ones that I use.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man, that's like stopped me up to this point. Like I said, I've had this LLC for a year, but I just lately I've just been really like fed up with it. This is probably
so who talked you into going to get an LLC?
That was like the first program I took. It was with Ty Lopez, I think. So I opened one up like pretty quick, honestly.
How much did it cost you?
I think like $500.
Ooh, welcome to your state. It's only $50 in St. and Missouri.
Well, see, check this out. So I did it. I've done both of my LLCs through like softwares like LegalZoom and things like that. So of course they're going to charge you a little bit more because they're making it easy for you. You fill out a few blanks and you're good to go. Well, come to find out, now that I'm like starting to really understand like that side of things, I had my annual renewal for my digital agency, and the thing that I first filed my LLC for was like, it's coming underway, and they were wanting to charge me like $700 to do an annual renewal, just for the annual renewal, not even a registered agent. And so I was like, you know what? It can't be that hard. I actually filed my LLC through Nevada. So I hopped on Nevada's website. I started clicking around a little bit, and their prices are a little bit higher to like renew things. But at the same time, it was like, I think it came to like $300 flat for a registered agent for the year and for the annual renewal. And everything was good, as opposed to the $750 that they were trying to charge me. I was like, forget that. Yeah.
And so basically what I would always suggest is anybody just coming into this game, do not go open up an LLC. Get some deals first. Get a deal. Just close it in your name if you have to. That's what I would suggest. And then get you an LLC with that money. Go on and set up an LLC before you got any business, because business, you got to get some value, get some sales. If you don't have any sales, what am I buying this stuff for? It's not going to help me make any money.
Right.
So if it's not helping you make any money, what are we going to buy this LLC for and do all this crap?
And I totally agree with you too, like looking at it now, man, because it's just been nothing. I think it's like up for renewal probably within the days. I might even be a little bit late on that. I got to check it. But
yeah, we don't have renewals here. We don't have renewals in this state.
It's weird. I don't know why, but in New Mexico, they only charge you like $50 a year for it, which isn't too bad.
Oh, all right. So yeah, that works. Did you have any other questions or anything for me?
No, man. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I really just need to start implementing things. That's the biggest thing that this challenge that I'm doing is basically teaching us. Is it's just like, it's one thing to like learn a whole bunch of information, be like, oh yeah, that information was good. But it's another thing to be like, okay, they taught me X, Y, and Z. Now I'm going to pause this video and implement X, Y, and Z really quick. And then I'll unpause the video. That way it's like, by the end of the training or whatever you're doing, like you have the foundations of a pretty sweet business to whatever they're trying to help you do. So that's really what I'm trying to kind of key into at this point.
Yeah, and that's why I said use that Deal Machine app, driving for dollars. You know, you can still do your cold calling, but I say you got to get really good on the phones too. That's the thing. When you
I
master
hate cold calling, man.
when you master how to talk to them, because it's not even about the cold call part. Because say, yeah, I do want to sell. You ask somebody, yeah, you interested in selling your house? Yeah, I do want to sell. What do you do from that point? Because I mean, once you
Right,
get past that
exactly.
hurdle, you still got to get through all that other stuff. And that's the part where I say to focus your energy on mastering that stuff. And you know, have you put out? Do y'all put out bandit signs there and stuff, or what?
They're pretty illegal here in New Mexico. I haven't bought any yet, but the what is it? The dirt cheap signs that people are always saying.
I got a better
I
one for you. I'll send you the link. As a matter of fact, I'll put it in the description where you can get 100 bandit signs for 99 bucks, free shipping,
see.
much cheaper. So you know,
That's what I'm talking about there. Because dirt cheap signs, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, that's the best way to go
yeah,
about it."
it's
They're
not
doing
cheap.
like 200 signs for like $300. I'm
That's
like,
high.
is that dirt cheap to you? Because that's
No.
not dirt cheap to me.
Yeah, my bandit signs cost me about $1, and I don't pick them up. I put them out and forget about them. Cost of doing business. So yeah, I'll
But
put the link in the description of the thing here for you know, to get those signs. But so like that bandit signs, and they're illegal everywhere if you didn't know or not. They're against all ordinances, all municipalities. They're pretty much illegal everywhere. That's what I call bandit sign. So you know, you're breaking the law.
see,
That's the
I
whole
never
purpose
even
of it.
thought about
So
that.
worrying about legal or illegal, you know, I'm not going to tell you to break the law, but they are illegal and pretty much everywhere. But I would never put my phone number, my direct number, on a bandit sign. That would be no good. Matter of
So you
fact, while
just
I
could
was
use
here,
like a
that deal
Google
machine,
Voice
this is what
number.
the postcard looks like they send out. I meant to show you that earlier. If I can show it, if that's showing on the camera.
That's
I'm not too far
sweet.
back. So they took a
How
picture of the
much does
house.
it cost, like per postcard?
$1 or one deal credit. That's why I say if you use that keyword woke on deal machine, you get like $30 in free deal credits. And you can try it out. You know what I mean? Send a few postcards or do whatever you want to do with it. And you'll be
What's your
hooked.
what's your yeah, what's your turnaround usually on like direct mail? I
They
know
send these out. It may take them about 10 days. It's kind of slow to me because they got to print it up and all of that. So they get it in about 10 days. So I send it today. They might get it on the 5th or 7th of March or something. So that's kind of slow. That's why I usually try to, you know, put them in my app. If I don't send the mail, I try to call them first. So what I do is I put them in the app, like all the houses, ching, 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 come home, look them up, get their phone number. I'll give a tip for that too. TruePeopleSearch.com gives you most phone numbers. TruePeopleSearch.com gives you most phone numbers, addresses, all of that crap for people. And you can call them right from there and actually get them on the phone, see if they want to sell their house before even sending any mail. Now, if I can't reach them by phone, then I'll go ahead and send them postcards or do something else or put them in my ringless voicemail drop system or, you know, something different to where I actually keep trying to touch them because I need an answer from them. That's the thing with marketing. Once you got a list or once you're working on deals, you want to keep trying to reach them and get an answer. Do you want to sell or you don't? It's not a problem if you don't. I'll just leave you alone. But I need an answer, not just, oh, I couldn't reach them and I give up. That's not the way to make success. You have to keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And every once in a while, somebody say, yeah, I do want to sell. Now, then you go through your process and ask all the questions and go through the, you know, that like that. So it works out a lot better on that end once you get some leads coming in, but you got to have some leads. Bandit signs, when people call that bandit sign, they work because they call you and they really want to sell. That's the thing I like about it. When they call that thing, they're probably looking to sell and not just playing around. Who calls a sign up on a freaking pole or down on a stake? You know what I mean? Unless they're really serious. You know what I mean? Think of the motivation level. You get a higher, better quality person that's calling you because they're not going to say, oh, I just want to know what you'll give me for the house. No, they really usually want to sell. From my experience, like I say, I don't see too many people just calling a bandit sign for nothing. But like I was saying, put a different phone number on it. Don't put your regular number. Get you either a Google Voice number or what I use is CallRail. The link's in the description too for that. I'll put that in to where it'll have a CallRail, and you can use that and get a 14-day free trial with that as well, I believe. And so that gives you 30 phone numbers or I'm sorry, 10 phone numbers for $30 a month. And everything's recorded. All the calls are recorded for quality assurance. You got your text messaging, all that stuff, all within one little system. You can keep track of stuff. And so you get these tracking numbers to where, you know, if they call this number, I know they call from the bandit sign. If they call the number that's on this postcard, I know it came from the postcard. You know, every marketing stream has its own phone number. So now you can start tracking what marketing works and which one doesn't. You know, so
That's
that's why
super
multiple phone numbers.
smart. I've never ever thought of that. That is probably like that mind blowing.
Oh yeah, you ain't know you was on here with a beast. Come in, swinging, knocking them down. No. But did you have any other questions or anything before we get up out of here?
Um, so I mean, overall, at this point, you suggest I just drive for dollars. I mean, past that point, when you're looking for lists and stuff, are there any specific things you usually target? Or I mean, is your first step usually just driving for dollars anyways and
Well, it
just skip
depends on
tracing it?
well, it depends on
Deal.
your budget. Now, you start pulling these lists and stuff. Remember, you're spending money. Lists aren't
Right,
cheap. I
right.
buy lists, so I know what they cost.
Yeah. I
One
bought one
little list
list
be
and then
$500 or something. You know what I mean? And then you got to skip trace the list. That's more money. And then you got to call them and hope and pray that they even answer the phone. And if they don't answer the phone, keep calling them. You know what I'm saying? It's work. That's a lot of stuff between all of that. When you could just go drive by, take a picture of a house, say, "Oh, damn, found a deal. Just made 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever you make." You make your money. It just depends on your budget. So you got a free way, a cheap way, and an expensive way. The most expensive way is sending out mail, direct mail, but some people think they do that, but I don't do mail. This is all the mail I'm gonna do right here on this postcard. That's deep as I get on the mail, because I sent out a couple campaigns and they didn't get any calls. And like I said, I got a tracking number to know that no one called. I just sent out all of this, spent $500 on a freaking mail campaign and don't get one call. You can keep that. I'd rather keep calling them myself. You see what I'm saying? Or skip trace them and put them on the ringless voicemail, or do some other kind of creative stuff other than just sending it out there and hoping, that it comes back. Because mail, they say, gets like what, 1% return on the estimate? That's no good. Anything with a 1% return is bad in math, and any way you count it, right?
Yeah. Now, I mean, I guess probably one last thing. What do you recommend to somebody like me that honestly just really has like this weird anxiety about cold calling? I always have, man, and I don't know how to overcome it. It's like I'm good. Like I'll pick up my phone. I'll be like, I got the number dialed in, right? I'm staring at it, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'll
Well,
go
I
to
know
hit
what
it.
the
And my
problem. I could tell you what the problem probably is. You don't know what to say to them. You know what I mean? When you
yeah,
have scripts and outline everything of what you're going to say to them on that phone, your confidence goes up. When you don't know what you're going to say, hello, I was just wondering if you think you might want to sell. They ain't talking to you. You know what I'm saying? You got to come on there. Hey, how you doing? I'm just in the neighborhood. I want to know if you'd be interested in selling your house. And just shut up and let them say, "No, I ain't selling my house. How the hell you get my number?" Hang up on you, whatever they're going to do, right? Move on to the next one. If somebody say, "Yeah, I do want to sell," great. So let me ask you a little bit of information about it, if you don't mind. Do you have a few moments? Because remember, we're going to ask a lot of questions. So we always want to respect other people's time before we do that. Ask them a bunch of questions about their house and their situation and whatever's going on. Yeah, I got a few moments. What do you got? Go through your script. Boom. So you got to have what you're going to say to them down pat. If you don't have that, then I'm having anxiety too. I don't know what I'm going to say to them. Are you using any type of scripts or anything right now?
I I can't even remember what I did when I was calling people before. I think I did a subscription to REI Pro, and it like generated a script for you depending on the type of lead. So I was going off of that, but to be honest with you, it was mostly off the top of my head. It was a little sketchy.
And that's why you don't like cold calling. That's why you can't deal with them on the phone. Told you, uncovered the whole problem. Once you master that, practice it, and once you practice it, your flow comes off better because it sounds natural. I can be reading off a script right now. So if we're able to agree on a price and close pretty quickly, how soon would you like to close? I'm looking at a script, but you wouldn't know that because I said it in a way that sounded good and it didn't feel like I'm going to read this here. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Once you got a lit script that you've studied and you've learned it and you can deliver that stuff and come off smoothly, people will trust you better. You'll get better deals, better responses. And like I say, master asking the question. I can't push that hard enough. Master asking questions and listening and let them tell you their answer and solve the problem. It's just that easy.
Awesome,
And
man.
another thing is too, I see a lot of people, they end up getting on defense. So say I'm in here asking questions. So yeah, tell me about the house, or what do you think it needs repairs or whatever? Oh yeah, so what do y'all do? Y'all buying for cash? Yeah, we buying for cash all the time. That's what we do. We buy houses. We're looking to buy 3 to 5 properties here in the local area. And we're just looking for houses to buy. And do you have a house for sale? Or do you have a house you would like to sell? See, I stay on offense. I'm always asking the question. Even if I answer what they say, I come right back with a question. If you're not asking questions, you're not in control of the conversation. He who asks the questions is in control of the conversation. So when you master that stuff, all your whole delivery and everything just becomes so much better and stronger. And so I do have, some training videos on my YouTube channel and some other stuff that actually helps with some of that stuff. I mean, you hear how I talk to sellers or things, you can see that, they're willing to answer the question, even if they don't answer. So say they say, how much would you like to get for this house? Well, I don't know. I don't know what I want for it. Oh, okay, no problem. So yeah, so does it need how's the roof on it? It's good. Oh, okay, good. What about the foundation? That's okay. Great, great. Wow, okay, sounds like it's a pretty good house. So what you want? What would you like to sell it for? I'll ask them again later on. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to press you on it, but I need to get a number out of them. I do need that answer, but I'm not going to press them on it. I'll just ask them again later in a different way. Great. So this sounds like it's a pretty good house. So what do you think it'll appraise for? Well, we did get an appraisal that said it was 150 or whatever number they come up with, right? See, that's the thing. That's what I said, when you master asking those questions, you open up doors that you never have seen before. And most people don't work like that. They go in trying to tell them what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy, man. I'm going to do this. We do that. They don't care what you do. You need to see what they need so you can help them.
That's a good point.
Makes sense. Did I answer all your questions for today?
I think so, man. I think so.
All right, cool. For the people that's going to be on the YouTube, give it a thumbs up and, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all social media outlets at Chris Monroe STL on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, all the websites, all the social media at Chris Monroe STL. I make it easy, right? And also the website, chrismonroestl.com. That's got all the links to the stuff that I'm talking about, like the deal machine, all of that different stuff. Those links are all in there, or I can just give them to you. You can write them down, either one. Like I say, if you just go to Deal Machine and put in that promo code WOKE, WOKE, you get the free trial for 14 days. Plus you get the $30 in deal credits. And like I say, the other stuff that I was mentioning too is all within there as well. The breakdown, you gotta love that.
Yeah, what I'll probably do too is just get everything planned out, like my execution, and then get all my 14-day trials and try to get a deal within that 14 days.
There you go. And it's possible. It's very well possible. Go out there and at least use up those credits. Some people just get it and don't do anything with it. I'm like, you need to do something with it. Don't just sit up and not do anything. That's no good. All right. All right, bro. Thanks for your time, and I'll catch you at another time. All right.
Thank you. You
do what you do. Be who you be. And I'll see you before you see me.